So we got some new stuff to check out for the week. Now we're gonna start off with this one from Monterey Bay Knives. It does come with extra clips and extra hardware. I always love to see that. And this is the Monterey Bay Knives Mini Old Guard. So this one is the budget-friendly option. They do have premium old guards, and there's also a large version of this with a 3.5-inch blade. That's, you know, typically my favorite size. This one's a 3-inch blade, but because it's a thumb stud knife and not a flipper knife, this thing is very ergonomic. It's a phenomenal size for EDC. Like, this is a super capable 3-inch blade. So I think, you know, for the people that like to be under 3.5, under 3.5, 3.25, and they like to be in the 3-inch range, this is as optimal as it gets. Now, he also sent me, Monterey Bay Knives also sent me this titanium hammerhead. Obviously, it's a bottle opener. It took me a second to figure out what it was, and I was like, oh wow, it's a hammerhead. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So the Mini Old Guard has this beautiful straight clip point blade in 14C28N, and it's actually riding on washers. Now, typically, I am a ceramic bearing fan, not just bearing fan, ceramic bearing fan. Now, you know, there's been tests done, you know, to show like what's the superior pivot mechanism, and it seems to be ceramic bearings over phosphor bronze and then Teflon. So it's Teflon, ceramic bearings, phosphor bronze, then steel bearings. Steel bearings is the absolute worst. Now, but that doesn't mean that phosphor bronze isn't good for, or isn't great, I should say, for certain things over bearings. And really where the superiority comes in is that bearings can be rinsed out. With washers, when they get grimy, you have to take it apart. Now, they will, they'll stop debris from getting in better than bearings though. So, you know, that is one spot where they do excel. However, once they do get clogged up, the only way to clean it is to take it apart. With bearings, you can rinse it out, you can, you know, spray it out, you know, there's ways to clean it out without ever taking it apart, and then your knife is back to being functional. So that's, you know, but anyways, I'm going on way too long about this. Awesome knife. It does come in 3 different color options, deep carry wire clip, TA hardware all the way around, phenomenal access to the lock bar, and because it has the washer action, it's not like a drop shut action, but I can feel that this thing is going to get luxuriously smooth. Thumb stud action's really good. The detent could be a little bit stronger, but it's really good. I think a lot of people would appreciate this. And like I said, the size, the shape, this is a great knife. Like, you know, as far as use goes, the tip, you can easily get to utility cuts. You can comfortably cut backwards, you know, slicing, you know, without nothing pushing you back. You got really good ergonomics for slicing. So all in all, man, this is a really good pocket knife. Now, some nitpicks and negatives. One, sharpening tool and plunge grind. You guys already knew that was coming. Yeah, that's, you're not getting anything there. You're going to hit the plunge grind when you sharpen it, and it will create a smile into the plunge grind. And basically what that means is when you sharpen, you wind up sharpening into the plunge grind, and, you know, it looks wonky. Now, there's a bunch of other reasons why that sucks, you know, other than just appearance, but it is what it is. Now, the next negative, and I probably wouldn't care about the one so much if it wasn't for the other. They put the stop pin behind the edge. Now, it is in the thick of the blade, so it's not like it's right here in the thin part. You can see actually right where it hits. You can see that line. But that prevents me from cutting in my own sharpening choil. However, I will give it some you know, some credit here, because I can put a little notch here. As long as I'm in front of that line, I'm okay. So technically I could put a notch right there. So, you know, that makes it okay, kind of, you know. But granted, I would rather it just have a sharpening notch from the factory, or a better sharpening tool and plunge grind, a plunge grind that's moved away from the edge. One other nitpick is the edge angle is a little high. I'd prefer it to be a little bit lower. And, you know, since that, you know, that's the case, I would want to lower it pretty quickly after getting it, you know, just because it's sharp. Don't get me wrong, it's sharp, it's fine. Most people this would be fine for, but for me, I would want a little bit of a lower edge angle, and then that would make sure I wind up hitting my plunge grind. But the geometry is pretty good. It's about 13 thousandths behind the edge with their edge angle. With my edge angle, it'd probably be more like 15 or 16 thousandths behind the edge. All in all, I do like it. I think it'll be a great user. I think a lot of people can appreciate it. I don't think the sharpening is going to become an issue, other than it's going to create a smile and you'll have to put in a sharpening notch if you care. But yeah, very, very cool. Next are two items from NITECORE. Now, I highly, highly recommend everybody have a version of these. Now, you don't have to have this exact one, but I think everybody should have something, right? So first one is a power bank. Now, a power bank, in my opinion, in 2024 is an absolute must. I don't think you should go anywhere without one. I think everybody should have one. We're just in the day of technology where everything needs charging, everything is electronic, and if your phone dies, or in my case, my camera equipment or my microphones or anything like that, I can always charge on the go. Another thing is I save people all the time with these. You wouldn't believe how many times I've pulled out my power bank and helped the person next to me. I've done it at airports. I've done it everywhere, basically. Every time I'm with my family or something, somebody's phone's dead, you know, and I always have a pack where I keep all my electronics, and I always slip one or two of these inside there. I have a little mini one, like an on-the-go one, and this is very slim, very lightweight, and, you know, it has the carbon fiber, finish on there, and, you know, it's nice and powerful. It holds the charge very well, and you can see right here, you can see how much charge is in there. 2 dots means, I think, 70%, 3 dots is 100%, and then 1 dot is 30%. And, you know, it's just a convenient way to make sure that you never have to worry about things dying, you know, when you're on the go, because that's the worst feeling, you know, to know that your electron, whether it's your laptop, your iPad, your phone, whatever, is about to die. Yeah. It's awesome to have these, and I'm telling you, it is a great investment. And like I said, this thing is so lightweight and just so easy to carry. Also, I recommend everybody get one of these cords. This is a multi-charging cord. Now, I have some that have the exact same head so that I can charge 3 devices at once that use the same charger, but this one especially is the one I recommend because it comes with basically every single type of charging port that you might need, you know, so that you can help anybody out there, or even yourself, you know, because like myself, I have things that use different types of charging cables. But in this case, I have one cord that will charge anything. Then it also has this adapter over here. You can, you know, just pop off and then use that side. And it's super long. So if I need to charge something across the table, or, you know, I need to set my bag down somewhere, you know, and I'm sitting up higher, whatever. But these things are, in my opinion, are so valuable. By the way, NITECORE has all different sizes, all different versions, all different kinds. Definitely check them out. I will link them down in the description. I do recommend that one, you know, but you can pick up any version or any size. They work. Next is a 4,000 lumen flashlight, and I actually really like this one. So here, there's a couple cool features on this one. One, let me just move this. We'll read some of the box here in a second. So one, it has, if you look right here, the charging port is covered. So it makes it to where grime and dust and crap doesn't get down in there, which I obviously appreciate. Now, next, it has a lock. So you don't wind up setting it off in your pocket, you can lock it. Now, if you have it on and you accidentally hit the lock, it won't turn off. So if there is some sort of crazy situation where it accidentally gets hit, it's not gonna matter. But if it's off and you click it on, it's not going to work. So you can see right here, it shows you how much battery life you have while it's on. Now, what you can do is you can go through the modes of brightness just by tapping, and you just lightly tap. Now, if you get to the highest mode, you still are not hitting turbo yet. The way you hit turbo is you just hold down. So, which is really cool because it makes it to where at any point, like, and this is something I appreciate, I never want to have to get to my turbo mode by going through everything. I want to just be able to push the button and it automatically do it. And that's all you have to do. You just have to push down hard and you will get the turbo. So that's really cool. But I think this is a great size. It's very capable. It's not too small, you know, but it's big enough to be, you know, it's small enough to be concealable, but big enough to be very, very capable. And like I was saying before, with this thing being this way, you don't have to sit there and pick out, you know, the little rubber one and try to pull it out so that you can plug it in. You just spin it, plug it in. I hate dealing with those little rubber things. Now this one, I also have from NITECORE. This is the MH25 Pro, which is a little bit more heavy duty if that's what you're looking for. Now it does have the little pick me spot, but it's actually pretty easy the way they did this one because it's nice and big. So it's not, you know, just, it's not like a little thing where you're trying to pick. So that's awesome. And it does have the power or output right here. So you can, let me turn it on. So you can see the power levels of how bright it is, and then also how much charge is in there. Right now I only have 2 dots out of 4, so it needs to be charged. It has a back dial and a front dial. And I don't think I need to tell you guys why everybody needs a flashlight. I think that's self-explanatory, but I'm still gonna say it. Everybody should have a flashlight. I think everybody should have multiple flashlights. I think you should have all different sizes, all different kinds. I like getting little keychain ones to throw in my bags, and so if I ever open up my backpack, I know I have a flashlight like on like a line or something, so I can easily turn, you know, see what I'm doing, or whatever. I have them just set everywhere. Everywhere I might possibly need a light, I got a flashlight. And I think that's a smart thing to do, and I can't tell you how many times that has came in handy. So we have another new version or knife from REMETTE. Now I'm guessing REMETTE and XTOUC are the same company, because if you look, I got this same model from XTOUC, an M390. This one's in 14C. This one's also, I think, an M390. Yeah, so we have both an M390. This is like the new version of it. Now, already, like fresh off the bat, the G10 one has been the most easiest one, the most fidgety one. The detent is just tuned lighter, so it winds up working out really good. This one I had a little issues with because it's just so smooth and slick. You know, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Now this one, it has a blasted finish, so it's a little bit more textured, so it actually feels a lot better in the hand. Droppoint M390 blade. You can see we have titanium inserts in the thumb studs and pivot collar, titanium mill pocket clip, back spacer, lanyard tube, and it is a front flipper and thumb stud action knife. Now, the thumb studs work very well, especially for the reverse flick. I can easily reverse flick it out. However, the thumb is a little slippery. Obviously, I can do it no problem. You know, it's not a big deal, but there's no texturing around the edge. I prefer texturing around my thumb studs. I think that would make this knife just so much better. But the reverse flick is really, really good, because it just so happens that your finger lands in a perfect spot on the thumb stud, so it doesn't really need any texturing. Now, the front flipper. I prefer a front flipper to have a little bit better jimping. This jimping is just not the kind of jimping you want on a front flipper. So one thing, this is kind of wide right here. It's a little, the distance away, it's a little tight to the pivot. I don't know how to explain it, but the leverage point, it's good. Obviously I can do it just fine, and I can, you know, do it in all the different ways. So it's not bad, but it'd be better if it possibly had different jimping, maybe was a little bit taller, or maybe this peak knocked down a little bit and then finer jimping. Now, granted, you can slow roll it around, which I always prefer a front flipper to be able to do, because at the very least you can roll it. But you know, all in all, it's a solid knife, man. This is a good knife. It's just, you know, I have little nitpicks just like I have on everything. The clip does work fine. I do prefer it to not be over the top of cutouts like this, because these are sharp. Now, you can just kind of turn it a little bit when you pull it out of the pocket and it doesn't catch, but, you know, it's still just a thing. Sharpening tool and plunge grind's good. Perfect plunge grind. They landed nice, a good distance away from the edge. You know, I try to get as far back as possible, but that's good. Ergonomics or hand melting, this thing has really, really good ergonomics. Access to the lock bar is good. Very, very smooth on the drop. Did they change that? I don't think so. I think it's just because this one's not slick like the other one. It feels a lot better. So yeah, I would recommend this one over the Lightning Anno one because of that reason. This one's just so smooth. That's the only problem. The G10 one, man, this thing is the front flipper even works better on it because the detent is a little bit lighter. So it winds up working really, really well. This one, like I said, you know, the detent, it's good. It's a good detent. It's just, man, that jimping could be a little bit finer because the detent is a little bit stronger. Now, nitpicks and negatives, you know, I already mentioned the one thumb stud could be not as slick. The front flipper could be up a little bit higher and have finer jimping and more, sorry, when I say finer, I mean more aggressive, but also like not as far apart from each other. Make them finer, jimping so that it's very catchy to your finger. So there's no way you can slip like this. See how I can run my finger back and forth? Now these aren't the worst of the worst, or you know, these are okay, but they could be better. My next issue is the stop pin area. The stop pin winds up landing right there. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, if I chip my edge and I need to remove all of this steel and I get to this point, I have the chance of sharpening into my stop pin area. So granted, that's most likely not going to happen to anybody. It's just the if, what if, it could. It's things like that. You know, granted the geometry is good on this. I don't expect anybody to chip their edge or anything like that. But it's just the point, you know, over time, you want your knife to last a very long time. And say if you do sharpen all this steel out, you want to eventually be able to cut in a new sharpening choil. And in this case, you can't because of where the stop pin lands. So, you know, I would just prefer the stop pin to be an internal stop pin and you know, get rid of where that one's placed. You know, it is in the thicker part of, I was looking at the other ones. It is in the thicker part, but granted, it's right there in the thicker part. So this would be where if I sharpened all this steel out, or if I chipped my edge and had to, I would end up sharpening that away or sharpening into it, where it could possibly mess with the closing action or mess with the closing, you know, the way it closes. Anyways, let's get to the next one. Now here is an XTOUC that I really, really like. I think that this one is probably my favorite one so far, and there's many reasons why. One, this has a very well-tuned detent. It has a nice, comfortable flipper tab, and it accepts the light switch. That's the way you have to do it, is the light switch, but you can't fail this. This thing is, the only way you can fail is if you let the front flipper come around and hit you. This thing is so snappy. Even just listen to the lockup. When I take the front flipper around, you can hear it. It's very, very snappy. And you also have a great front flipper. Now, the detent is a little bit stout for this front flipper, but you can see it works really, really well. I have no problems with it at all, and I think they did good jimping on it. I do always wish jimping goes up and around the front flipper, but this is still really good, and you can still slow roll it. It has beautiful texturing on the handle with this frag pattern milling that I absolutely love. It has a replacement plate for the reversible milled titanium pocket clip that does have a tritium insert spot. Now this does not have a steel lock bar insert, but I don't think that that's an issue. It does have a lock bar stabilizer in there, meaning you can't unspring it, which is always a good thing. You know, because after disengaging it so much, you're never going to push it out so far that it'll unspring the tension. So, but the Harpoon M390 blade is a good looking blade shape. It's a great size. And just all in all, man, this one is done extremely, extremely well in my opinion. Next, we have the Tempest Knives Fractus. Now, this is by KC Knives Fast on YouTube. He has a knife company that is Tempest Knives, and this is his new knife design that just dropped. 3 different versions are available, so 3 different color options, you know, with the inlay. This one is by far my favorite one he's done yet. There's so much to love here. Everything is done extremely well on this. And like I said, 3 different versions, about 200 bucks a piece, and the blade steel is S90V with this drop point blade. Beautiful satin finish. We have great geometry, perfect sharpening choil and finger choil. Extremely comfortable, slightly contoured. The inlay, I can feel it a little bit, but I think it was supposed to be, because you know, you can feel it around the edge all the way. It kind of bubbles up just a little bit. And it feels good. It's very comfortable in the hand. Great ergonomics regardless of what direction or how you are holding the knife. The access to the lock bar, nice and nice big opening right there for access. The one thing I said is it could have been chamfered right there, but you know, it doesn't matter. It's damn good. The reverse flick, just the action period, this thing is fidgety. If you like a good reverse flick, this is damn near as good as it gets. You know, it's just you have it from any different position. I mean, I can do it with my pinky. The thumb flick is equally as good, which is surprising because usually it's going to be better with either the reverse flick or the thumb flick. You can use it left-handed because you have this overlay or inlay. Titanium milled pocket clip that is spectacular. Look at this. It's deep carry. It kind of reminds me, and maybe he got this from them, I don't know. I'm kind of planning a clip design kind of similar, where it's from, from Quiet Carry. The way the Quiet Carry one is, you know, where it's a deep carry spring pocket clip like this, it allows it to not have a ton of tension. So then it allows it to be super smooth. And since you're going over this carbon fiber, phenomenal clip. That's all I'm gonna say. Phenomenal clip, and you can obviously reverse it. By the way, remember this is a pre-order, so if you do order it, you're pre-ordering it. So there's only 200 pieces available, so they are very limited. So if you do want to make sure you get one of these, you are going to want to pre-order it.